We go 2-1 on the dog of the night predictions last week through the UFC and the regional shows. The UFC one comes through with Mick Parkin putting on an absolute masterclass against Jamal Pogues, who seemed very gun-shy that night, but that was to our benefit as we cashed the plus 140 on Mick Parkin. That increases our dog of the night prediction rate for in 2023 to 35-44 for a plus 7.1 unit profit at 9% ROI. Very happy with that. As long as we're in the green with these dog of the night shots, I'm very happy with my performance there. Again, very solid underdog on the LFA as well. Can't pronounce the guy's name, but he was one of the first fighters that ended up beating Zumar Archer, and he beat him inside the distance, which I got in on at plus 300 as well. I got another dog of the night prediction for you guys this weekend for UFC 291. But before I get into it real quick, I just want to plug the MMA Fight Archive once again. 7-day free trial. If you love breaking down the fights and predicting them yourselves and try to get as much tape on these guys as possible, I have you completely covered. I am the best in the world at finding tape on every single fighter that's competing, whether it's from the UFC to the PFL to Bellator versus Rizin to Cage Warriors to LFA to ACA to KSW. I got you covered. We already have close to 1,900 fighter profiles on there right now, and we're about to start dropping the Contender Series profiles as well, so you know exactly what to expect from these fighters that are vying for a UFC contract starting on August 8th. 7-day free trial available. Link in the description below. Check out why 45 other people are already more than content and happy with the service that they're getting from the guy that industry professionals rely on to get the best tape and footage, and know that no stone is left unturned when I go out there and find the tape on all of these fighters. So make sure you guys check it out. Link in the description below. All right. Let's get into the top 3 dog of the night candidates. And just a reminder, if you want to know which dog that I actually ended up going with, that's for my personal Patreon page. Check that in the link in the description below as well, and you'll see who I went with to try to pull off the upset this weekend. But the 3 that I'm going to put up for you guys here are possible candidates. First of which, Vinicius Salvador, plus 125 against CJ Vergara. I was very surprised to see Salvador as the underdog here, as I feel like people might be over hyping what they're getting on the CJ Vergara side. Vergara obviously has great wins over Clayton Rodriguez, who's a bit of a gas bag, let's be honest. And then in his last fight against another notorious gas bag and Daniel Lacerda, he was almost out of that fight, and probably, any other ref may have stopped that fight, and Vergara could easily be coming off of a loss in his last matchup. But he's a tough guy to put away. He's very durable. But those are his best traits. He's a decent Muay Thai striker, but outside of that, his takedown game is mediocre. His technique is mediocre. It's just his durability and toughness that he's been relying on to end up getting his wins. I'll give him his win over Bruno Correa on the Contender Series. That was an impressive victory, but I still think he's on a bit of a Cinderella run at this point in time. And I feel like that's going to get exposed by a guy in Vinicius Salvador, who's going to be the superior striker and will be able to have fun in terms of landing his strikes. In Altamirano, who he faced last time around, he was dealing with a guy with a lot of movement. You're not getting that out of CJ Vergara. So give me Salvador to pull off the upset as one of the first dog of the night candidates here. The second dog of the night candidate is going to be Michael Chiesa, who also comes in at plus 125. He's going up against Kevin Holland here, and we know the big flag or the red flag and the flaw in Kevin Holland's game that people used to rely on to fade was the takedown defense. And I feel like other than Khamzat Chimaev, we haven't really seen him face anybody that's going to try to take advantage of that effectively, just as I think Michael Chiesa will be able to. Even though Chiesa's on a 2-fight losing streak, I believe that he is still capable of going out there and putting on some of his classic performances, just like he did against Rafael dos Anjos and Neil Magny. Drag these guys to the ground, put them through the ringer, and get that control time. And I feel like he'll be able to do that here against Kevin Holland. Holland is the better striker, don't get me wrong. So there is a little bit of hesitancy from me in terms of being fully lock of the night confident on Michael Chiesa here, but stylistically speaking, he's a horrible matchup for Kevin Holland, especially if Holland has not improved that takedown defense or grappling defense. We'll see how it goes this weekend, but Michael Chiesa will be the second dog of the night prediction. The final dog of the night prediction is going to be in the co-main event with Alex Pereira going up against Jan Blachowicz. You got plus 100 right now on Pereira, and I feel like his knockout power could easily translate to the light heavyweight division, considering how big this man already is. He's 6'4" and will slowly start to get used to that light heavyweight weight that he's going to be fighting at and the opponents he's going to be fighting with, but he'll always be at a striking advantage no matter who he goes up against in this division. and he could absolutely showcase that knockout power here over the 40-year-old Jan Blachowicz, especially if he's able to keep this fight upright. So I think at plus 100, he could be worth a stab depending on the confidence level that you have on him here. And there you guys go, the top 3 dog of the night candidates for UFC 291. Let me know who you end up picking, even if it's not one of the 3 that I laid out. And if you want to know who mine is, make sure you check out my personal Patreon page, link in the description below. I already got it posted and I feel pretty good about it, if I'm being honest. If you can't figure it out from the 3 that I just gave you, then you can check it out on the Patreon as well. Also, later today, you'll see the Bellator versus Risen 2 breakdown coming out. It's only for 5 fights, but I wanted to get over it and get through it for you guys. So make sure you guys check that out as well. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Lockheed 2-step. Peace.